Good morning and welcome to another video by Russia UK, the channel that gets under the skin of Uber. Now I've asked a few requests to make a video about this actually, so this is my video. This is going to be talking about the court ruling that happened on the 28th of July 2023. This was held at the London High Court. I'm going to try and make this video quite simple and to the point that actually matters to us private hire drivers. And I'm going to give you my opinion to what I think that might have an impact with the trade we're in now, the private hire taxi driving trade. Now, to start all this, we need to go back to 2021, I think, when Uber was taken to court over workers' status. We all know Uber lost, and then obviously they had to classify all Uber drivers as workers. Okay, you all with me? Now, this obviously impacted Uber's tax implications. Obviously, it's going to do that. And other requirements, as in holiday pay, the sick pay, the pension, and all that sort of thing. But more importantly, the 20% on the profit margin. Profit margin, the net figure after everything. So, what we have now is Uber has gone back to court, fighting this time. And their argument is that the playing field is not level. Can you believe that? Uber saying that the private hire playing field is not level for them. You have to get your word. I'll have to be very careful with my wording here. So anyway, that's what they're fighting for. And the court, and what they said to the court, that all private hire taxi operators enter a contract with passengers. So it's a firm entering a contract with the passengers. Now, so what could this mean to taxi companies if they were to pay 20% on each trip? And that's going to have a significant impact on their balance sheet as well. And sadly, some of them will have to go. This is how devastating this court ruling is. Well, all this classification is. So what the judge has ordered, now the judge has ordered that these taxi companies do exactly that. They enter into a contract with passengers. Now, Uber are all hugging and praising themselves because, and also releasing statements saying this provides a consistency within the industry. Uber saying consistency within the industry. Can you believe that? This is how gullible this court is, believing that Uber is actually saying this ruling provides consistency within the industry. A joke, but we got the court's judgment. We can't argue with that. So what we are seeing now, right, is I think the phrase they normally use nowadays is partners. So Uber now, in this ruling, I've partnered with ADCU. Now these are obviously old enemies coming together to ruin any existing taxi companies who have survived the first round of Uber's demolition of the taxi industry. Some private hire smaller companies survive. It's hard to say paying 20% on per journey. That is quite, and this is the reason why a lot of these smaller companies are taking interest now. But that's not it as well. At the same time, this is likely to ripple to other transportation sectors as well. If you look at the buses and the trains, now they also will be subjected to this 20% rise as well. Paying 20% profit margin tax. So let's now discuss who's responsible for this. So let's do this quick as well. Okay, firstly, and before anything or anyone, the number one reason for this happening is you, frankly. And also me, by the way. We left in masses from local bases to join Uber. So firstly, let's not pretend any other way we are to blame. Okay, and then we have Uber, of course. Their goal is simple. Get rid of all local bases, regardless of size or location. They don't care. They have a mission and a vision, and nothing's going to stop them or come on the way. It's simple and it's very, very aggressive. ADCU and other people involved in all this. Now, let me just tell you a bit about myself here. I'm going to take a bit of time to tell you me and ADCU. I've been a member with ADCU for Youngs. I get regularly involved in the protests and demos they hold. Now, in this trade, I've always looked at it from a view that this is my trade. I've chosen this trade as my career. I've been doing this for nearly 27 years. I like the trade. I even respect this trade. As I said, I've been doing it for 27 years. And I feel like if this trade needed support, I would offer that support. I wasn't just going to let things happen to this trade. I also know that within any business, there's times when business structure changes. And so I also adapted to those changes and aligned myself, hence joining Uber. And over a period of time, the perception of Uber's goal was changing and becoming more clear. And, it wasn't to my perceiving or the way I thought it might. So, I joined a union, UPHD, I think was it IWGB? Well, it was one of them anyway at that time. Now, what I saw in them fitted my understanding of how this trade should be for the future. Remember, I wasn't prepared to run away from this trade. I would fight to support it. I would offer myself for that improvement. So, over the last 4 or 5 years, I've joined other local bases as well. It's worth noting that I'm a local firm driver. I love the concept of working locally. And in them times, what I've done is I've used Uber alongside with my local base and used Uber to bring me back to local base catchments and then continue with their jobs. So that's my background, quick background there. So when I read this article alongside ADCU supporting or even partnering with Uber in this, I was absolutely shocked. Have ADCU forgotten about the thousands of drivers that work for local bases? Don't they realize the amount of drivers that get deactivated and from Uber and seek refuge in these local bases? The fact for them is all there. And for that reason, I'm having second thought of what their vision actually is. I don't believe in that they say that local bases should align themselves like Uber. I could be wrong. I don't see any huge outcry from local drivers wanting such a change. Definitely don't also agree with what ADC is doing currently, knocking at council's door and telling them how to do their job and how to enforce it. Now, I'm prepared to wait a bit longer for them to align themselves to my values, where drivers' complaint and deactivations are the priority and not a tunnel vision of what the private eye industry should be. Let's face the facts. Your earnings over the last 5 years hasn't gone up, regardless of Uber having holiday pay and everything else. Your earning also hasn't gone up due to ADCU intervention. The whole success of ADCU is driven by the fear factor. The more fear Uber installed, the more driver joined ADCU. And lastly, we have AutoCab. Now, this is when you see how thick these operators are. How many times have I told you, and you heard me say, data is king. Uber buying AutoCab and you using the AutoCab system indirectly gives Uber all your operating data. Uber knows more about your business, trust me, than you do. And they will use that data against you. Now, as I said, guys, you guys wanted my opinion. I've given my opinion. And what I'll do, I'll stop the video. Chat to you later. Bye-bye.